Is that like changing vampire horror for zombie horror? I mean, it's one kind of genital for another. The point is, like, the guy built a brand first, and then he was able to go off the reservation, right? Mm-hmm. And like at this point, if Rob wanted to do vampires, he might get away with it because
I do vampires.
I mean, well, yeah, but Night Wolf is like that's the
like a vampire focused
series. If you wanted to do a vampire focused spin-off, right, you could do a vampire.
Related enough,
right? You could do that, or you could go even further, and you could do something even that has nothing to do with any of that.
I mean, I do have 3 other titles that I have in the wind that I've been wanting to do, but I'm very limited on my time, so I focus. I hyper focus to get something done.
Now we're getting to my point, which is I think you building the brand first, and then you can go and do all the different kinds of genres you want to do. And Rob nailed it because he's actually, I don't know if he even knows what he's done, but there's a lot of if you want to build that brand and you want that brand to be you and not a genre, then you need to build like a cult around yourself. And Rob has built a cult.
Come on, right? Lynsey, build a cult.
If you guys read the 48 Laws of Power,
L. Ron Hubbard did it.
Right, L. Ron Hubbard did it.
Oh boy.
Oh.
But the thing is to counter what you're saying, Carmelo, is like, I mentioned a bunch of people who are popular today, right? Because these are individuals that we know today. I'm a little bit older, right? Sure. So, if I mention someone like Roger Zelazny, or if I mention someone like Isaac Asimov, right? And you can say Isaac Asimov is primarily known for science fiction, but he's also written a book in every. When we had to do a disciple system, he's written one book in every category of it.
Did he really?
Yes.
That's pretty cool.
I love Asimov.
Yeah. So, I mean, so he's written varied things. He may not be as popular in some as some of the others. Same thing goes with Stephen King. You understand? But I think in the end, what we're looking for is people want to know, is Lynsey, myself, yourself, Rob, are we good writers? Are people willing to invest their time into our writing, right? In the end,
right.
I mean, yeah, you can build a brand on saying, oh yeah, I'm doing horror primarily, but do you want to be pigeonholed? Because that's what happens, right? You're gonna pigeonhole yourself, right? And you're gonna be like, well, Arthur, artist XYZ is doing horror. Now they're doing a fantasy thing. I don't want to read fantasy from them.
Which brings a good point, because like you would think that 100% of my audience carries over from Night Wolf to Snowpaw. That is not. Yeah. It's about 50-50. Yeah. Because one is modern horror, the other one's a little bit more fantasy, and it's time period piece. So that's the other thing, yes, werewolves tie that together, but they're really technically different genres.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's one of the things that I've found, like even in our list of Kickstarters, is that, one audience is never going to be the same as an audience for another thing. Mm-hmm. Even if you're sticking within the same, genre, or like I did a novella after I've been doing comics for a long time, and it did have a much smaller audience. I expected that. I understand that. But it is, I think the pigeonhole terrifies me. Because I honestly, the way that I got my name out there originally as a writer was writing reviews of porn movies. Literally, that's what I did. I fell into it sort of by accident. I needed a job. That was the first job that presented itself. So I started doing it.
Then she became famous.
I was like, this is actually like, I want to know more about this industry. This is interesting to me. So I started doing like journalism from sort of like a sociological perspective. Like, who are these people? I started interviewing people. I started going to conventions. I got known for writing about the porn industry, which is fascinating. Don't get me wrong.
But you don't want.
But after like 10 years of that, I was like, okay, I want to do something else now. And so I cut my teeth doing journalism, which has served me very well as a writer. I know how to cut paragraphs out without even worrying about it. But I'm not interested in that anymore. I did that. I'm interested in moving on to the next thing. And I do have a not safe for work comic based on that work that I did.
Tracy Queen.
But I'm like, I want to do other stuff. And the idea of getting pigeonholed into only doing not safe for work, sex-based stuff bores the absolute daylights out of me. And I don't want that to be my creative life moving forward. So I think I want to be able to not necessarily do a full pivot every time that I try something different, but at the same time, I want to have the freedom to write about the things that are interesting me at that time without, doing the Stephen King and always being the horror guy.
I do have some stuff to say, but I don't know if we've actually gotten past the question section. Are we?
No, I'm just talking.
Are we on to the?
Are we still doing questions?
Yeah, I think we had the one main question, and that was it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we could move on to.
I think this one's
JD successfully destroyed the format. Well done.
Yeah, but this is kind of like a spin off of your question, so I feel like we've kind of we know what is the actual.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll just jump straight into our comments and answers. And kind of the play off of what JD was asking, whether you're marketing yourself or your brand or whatever, most of the time you are marketing Onishi Press, right?
Yeah.
So when you're doing it, like for me, obviously I go to Kickstarter as myself, but I'm still Lone Wolf Comics. So I have my logo everywhere, but on my Kickstarter page, it's me. I'm talking about it, I'm using my name. Hey, I'm the creator and writer and the founder of, where I say I am Lone Wolf Comics, like Iron Man, right? So I'm basically like Iron Man and Tony Stark, but not as
I am Iron Man,
right? Well, exactly. That's so that half the time that's where I go, right? When I say that, I'm like, I am Lone Wolf Comics. But I carry the brand recognition everywhere I go. I never am doing anything without this hat. One, because it covers my bald spot and makes me look younger. And two, the brand recognition, I go to cons. I have my logos are on everything. I mean, I'm like, you get a logo. Like in general, but I'm still introducing myself at the cons. Like, hey, I'm Rob Multari. My brand, even on Kickstarter, is Rob Multari is the main Kickstarter account. My name is slapped everywhere. I don't know if it's because I have a complex because my dad's also Rob Multari, but he may be a local hero, but I got farther than him.
Gotta outride the Rob.
Out Multari.
Which is funny because people think when my dad likes it and comments on my stuff, they think it's me, and I'm like, different picture.
High-fiving yourself in public.
Right?
Huh?
Yeah, I'm like, hello.
Hey, me. It's so awesome being me.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So I'm like, thanks, Dad. No, but again, you want to and Travis Gibb has a similar issue when it comes to this, because he has Orange Cone Productions is his main, production company. But he wants to market himself because he wants to one day do a story for Marvel, do a story for DC. Like he wants to be himself writing, he wants to be in that. So he's kind of like, okay, well, what do I promote more, my company or me? And I'm like, I've told him, I think actually this was kind of a similar thing he had in his hot seat when he came on. I was like, well, you're already putting yourself out there. You're doing. He has several different books that he's doing for other indie publishers. Maybe that's something for you to think about, not just putting it under Onishi Press, doing something for another company. Doing a couple of different things. All right.
Are you offering Lynsey a job?
I mean, I'm always looking for Nightwolf. Whenever I get my collected editions, I have guest writers. So. Just saying.
I'll have my people call your people.
You're right. Fair enough. But my point is,
an illustrator.
Hey, this is my hot seat.
Sorry.
Wow, now we're just tipping out. But you see my point though, is you want to put your name out there. Yeah. Well, the best way to do it is to put it in multiple places.
Right.
Play in different sandboxes. Right. So and write what you want. And the idea, what's nice about especially with indie creators, you can make yourself a decent deal with, if you want to write your own story but put it under somebody's banner, that you keep all the IP rights. They just basically then just have the production rights so that they recoup their cost, you know, or you do a partnership kind of thing,
Yeah.
you know, or however you want to work that out.
Yeah.
But, you know, and Travis would be a good one to talk to because he's got Band of Bards. He's got, he did have Scout, but that's a different story.
Yeah.
You know, aside from that mess, but he has like several publishing things. He's under mine. Like he's done 2 stories in volume 1. He did one in volume 1 and volume 2 of Nightwolf. And matter of fact, he's actually wrote a whole script that I still have to read. Travis, if you're watching, I do owe you that. That based off those same characters, like he actually pitched a mini series,
Wow.
you know, that we're talking about publishing under Lone Wolf Comics. So that's, you know, getting your name out there in forefront when you're writing your stories that you want to write. Helps you to build your brand because you are not just selling your story, you are selling yourself.
Okay.
Well, I mean,
fun.
today, right? You were working on a story for Archetypes, for,
Right, yeah.
Geek Collective.
Yeah.
I mean,
They came to
keep
me and
doing-
asked, though.
But maybe,
This sounds like a lot of initiative.
yeah.
that's being
Look,
asked
it's just like when
for.
you come up, you know, when you're coming
All right,
to
everybody,
Kickstarter,
if
right?
you're watching, ask Lynsey for work.
But you think about it though, like if you want to do a specific story and you think it fits well under a specific publisher like Band of Bards or Orange Cone Productions or Dreamweaver Press or whoever, right? If you think it fits under there, you're already doing all the work to go to Kickstarter with it, right? You're putting the elevator pitch together. You have all of the artwork and the pre-prep work. Just have that ready in a packet, like in just a PDF, and send it off to somebody and submit it. Be like, hey, are you interested in doing this? And then go from there. Just and you know what? Just send it to a bunch of different ones if you feel like there's multiple publishers that might be interested in it. And the first one that gives you the best offer.
Yeah. Off I go. Yeah, I can do that.
Build the cult of Lynsey G.
For real. Yeah. I'm not much of a cult leader, but I can work on it.
Yeah. The only thing I can add to that is one time I sat next to a gentleman at a convention. Unfortunately, I'm blanking on his name. He was an author. He had done some comics, but he was primarily an author, and he had contributed to dozens and dozens of anthologies, and he had them spread all over his table.
Yeah.
Right. And these were from various presses, some very large, some very small. And he would sit there, and this guy was killing it. He was like, hey, you, what do you like? You like fantasy, science fiction, horror? I got it. Come here. Zombie?
I got all the drugs.
Seriously.
I got your uppers, I got your downers, I got your poppers.
Yes. He was there. I was like,
For real.
he crushed us all weekend. It was fun. Just watching him and the way he did it. And he was an older gentleman. I mean, like, he was probably in the 70s.
Yeah.
And he was just there selling book after book. I mean, just killing it. And I was just like, wow. And that's where my thing comes from is like, you know, spread yourself far and wide if you can. You understand? Like, I'm hyper focused as it is. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, to get to Carmelo's point, I'm the one doing the opposite of my own advice. So, you know, but
Same.
Yeah, me too.
Like, all of it works. You understand? But
Yeah.
it just depends on what works for you. You know, and
So-
that's going to be the thing. Especially if you're spreading yourself all over in these different places, you might want to, like, you know, try to like Rob said, get into different anthologies, get into different publishers.
Yeah.
You know, because that'll help spread your name around. Because just like with Jayel saying about his current campaign, his current book, right? You have a certain funnel that you're leading down, and you're not pivoting. But by going with a different publisher, they're going to be like, well, your funnel's over there, my funnel's over here. So maybe you'll discover a new path.
Right. Yeah.
Mm.
I have one thing I'd like to add, which is, Lynsey, you if I heard the issue correctly, is similar to my own, which is how is that you want to do all of these different things and work in all these different, playing all these different sandboxes. And the more I thought about it, the more I realized there's no problem with that. You are already doing it, right? The issue is that you want to build a following doing that you want to earn a living doing that you want to, what else? Because there's nothing to stop you from writing whatever you want to write. You can do it. I'm doing it. We're doing it, right? You're already doing it. What's the actual issue, right? Is it I want to be able to write different genres and different mediums and have a big audience that follows me from one to the next? Because that's not what you said. What you said was just, I want to be able to write in all these different things. And there's nothing stopping you from doing that until we best understand whatever's missing. Then we can figure out what advice to give, because the advice right now is just do exactly what you're doing. You're already
and that's what I want to do. No.
whereas if you go into different publishers, though, you're going to their audience and you're collecting.
Right. If that's the goal, is I want to write in all these different genres and all these different mediums as I feel like it, as it pleases me, and have an audience that follows me from one to the next.
Yeah.
Now that's an issue. That's where like Rob's advice answers that question, right?
Yeah.
That just wasn't
a little bit.
and that just wasn't, and JD's advice answers that question. But that wasn't what we asked, right? That's not what you asked.
Yeah, I was kind of vague about it. Honestly, I didn't have that pointed of a question. I kind of wanted to hear what people had to say about the idea of writing across genres.
Yeah, and I'm not criticizing the question. What all I mean to say is is there actually is no problem until we add that second component. What
like if there's a if
right? Yeah. What else is there you want? Is it I want to make a living on just this? I want to quit the day job and just write. And okay, then that's a separate. Then we can talk about what that is. And
that's like at least a 5-step plan.
Well, right. So, and I'm not saying we could answer all of these different variations today, but my point is just that and this is why we have these masterminds, right? Is because refining the question is as important as getting to the answer. And sometimes refining the question gives you
the question.
Yeah. Right.
I think actually that's kind of where I'm at. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I would think about. And that's what I'm going to take away from this conversation, because I've learned from your question now. And I'm going to walk away and say to myself, what is it I want that I don't already have? Because I already wrote in different genres. So until you know the other thing that you want, then we can get to it.
Yeah. That's very helpful. Thank you for pointing that out.
Good. Thank you. I owed you for that nice thing you said to me. So
sure.
Full circle.
Yeah, like some of it could almost be like an imagined problem. Like maybe starting with growing our newsletter audience better is really just the missing thing. And maybe it has nothing to do with the genres, like.
Yeah, maybe not.
And getting published in more places by other people, those two things alone could just give you more success at doing what you're already doing,
That's beautifully said. Because if the question is, well, we want to make comics and make money doing it, you are among the more successful Kickstarter creators. You've done so many different campaigns and they've been funded and at levels that some creators will struggle to ever get to. You are successful in that area. Is the question, we want to make more money doing it. We want to raise more money per campaign. If that's the only problem, paid advertising, buy more traffic, right? Like there's answers for it, which I make it sound I'm oversimplifying. But my point is just
if you want to learn more about the paid advertising, watch our last episode because we went in really detail about that.
Yeah.
And if you want to learn more about the cat, he has his own Instagram. It's Chalathor the cat on Instagram.
Following
right
now.
So it's CHALITHOR.
It's a very
_ the _ cat. Chalathor.
Done.
We had a question in chat. Someone, I think it was Peter, was asking.
Yeah, Peter asked a question.
Fantastic.
The cat's name is Chalathor.
Yeah.
We call him Chal for short.
So,
Chal.
Lynsey, did this help?
It really, really did. It gave me some perspective that I didn't have, and a few things to mull over as far as, directions to take my career. Thank you.
Good. Very good. Well, everybody, I think we have ourselves a show. Unless anybody else has anything for Lynsey before we move on, or shall we?
No.
Okay. So let's go around and Lynsey, and I guess since you guys are technically going to be found at the same places, unless you want to separate that out, go ahead and tell the good folks where they can find you, what you're kickstarting, and so that they can go and find you.
All right. Well, we are Oneshi Press. That is spelled ONESHI Press. We can be found at oneshipress.com. And right now we are live on Kickstarter, funding our 14th comics anthology, the Side Quests Anthology. And you can find that at kickstarter.oneshipress.com. And we are on all the social medias as Oneshi Press.
You can also find us at home working in front of our computer pretty much from when we wake up to when we go to sleep every day.
True.
Or stopping to feed the cats.
Carmelo, can you tell the good people where they can find you and what you're kickstarting, sir?
Certainly. Right now, my newest film, Name the Demon, is streaming on Amazon and on Tubi, and that's what we're kickstarting, the physical media release, and it ends tomorrow. So if anyone likes owning physical media like I do, we're doing the Blu-ray and the VHS. It was a stretch goal we unlocked. Apparently people want that again.
Interesting.
So Name the Demon live on Kickstarter now, ends tomorrow. Wow. We're funded. We're on some stretch goals, but I sure would love it if you pick up a copy. And if you're not a physical media person, stream it, on your streaming platform of choice. If you want to follow me or connect with me, Chimera's Comics, spelled just like the monster, on Facebook and on Instagram. Chimera Studios official is our movie handle for the movie side of the business. So, if you want to follow both or either works. And, if you're really cool, you can just send me a friend request on Facebook or follow me personally, Carmelo Chimera. I'll accept it as long as you're not a total creep or trying to get me into an MLM scheme. So that would be great.
Cool. Hold on, I just wanted to pull this up for Side Quest, just to show everybody off. So,
of course,
there you go. So yeah,
yes, 9 days.
9 days. Go get it.
And as a hint to anyone that's watching, there's bloopers at the end of the video. It's worth it. Short video.
And we're dressed up as elves.
Oh yeah, that's it.
It's a good time.
Oh, that's fun.
Special effects, green screen, everything.
All right, cool. Rob, why don't you let everybody know where they can find you and your work?
Yeah, before I do, why don't I make the announcement that we'll be taking a short hiatus. Yes. So we do every other Tuesday. We are taking a hiatus for the holidays. We will be back at your regular scheduled program at Tuesday, January 14th at 9 p.m. With another great set of creators. You can find me, Rob Multari, at Lone Wolf Comics on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, whatever, Blue Sky, all the new ones, Hive, that have just recently cropped up. But you can find me personally at only Facebook, at Rob Multari, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, because that's way too many for me to do. And yes, lonewolfcomics.com. You can find all my titles, my online shop, and you'll find me on Kickstarter again, probably winter of 25.
All right, cool. My name is JD Calderon. You can find me on the OswaldChronicles.com, TallTalesOnline.com, on Kickstarter currently, Facebook, Instagram, all those different places. And just about every Sunday night here, hosting a similar but different panel than this, where we just talk about comics and the business of comics. So, and I just got to add one thing. Please check out the show notes. All the links to all of these creators, they're in the show notes. Click on those links, buy those books. All of these creators here are doing fantastic, incredible books. Please go check them out. I mean, I can't even stress it enough. This is how we do this. This is how we make these books possible, is by your support, right? And just remember, buy more indie comics, especially ours. Have a good night, everyone. Thank you.
All right, everybody.
Oh, fantastic.